Have you ever felt excited to start a new batch of compost, only to open it a few weeks later and find a pile of dry, crusty junk, or worse, a slimy mess that smells unbearable? I've been there too. When I first started composting, I thought it was simple. Just throw all the kitchen scraps into a pit, and time would work its magic. But no, that's not how nature works. Nature asks us to understand and respect her rhythm. Composting isn't just tossing waste into a bin. It's a journey of learning to listen to the soil, the smell, the moisture, the warmth, and even the quiet breathing of the microbes within. In today's video, I want to share 7 common composting mistakes that make your compost weak and your soil poor, even lifeless over time. If you're composting at home, or just thinking about starting, sit with me for a few minutes. I promise, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your kitchen scraps the same way again. Not balancing greens and browns. When your compost can't breathe. This is the biggest mistake most beginners make. We often hear about greens, vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, fruit peels, leftover food, rich in nitrogen, and browns, dry leaves, paper, sawdust, straw, full of carbon. Sounds simple, right? But balancing them is an art. A friend of mine once dumped only veggie scraps and coffee grounds into her compost bin. After a few weeks, she called me panicking. And why does it smell so awful? It's slimy and full of flies. I smiled and said, "You're feeding your compost too much meat and no rice." Without enough browns, the compost becomes soggy and airless. The good aerobic microbes can't breathe, and your pile turns anaerobic, smelly, acidic, and useless. On the other hand, if you only use browns, your compost will starve of nitrogen and produce low-nutrient soil that plants can't thrive in. My golden rule? 3 parts brown to 1 part green. Think of your compost like a meal. Too much meat makes you sick. Too much rice leaves you weak. The magic happens when both are in balance. Only then can the microbes eat well and rest easy. Wrong ingredients when compost gets poisoned without you knowing. Did you know some things that seem organic are actually compost killers? I've seen people toss bones, oil, meat, tea leaves, citrus peels, even printed paper into their bins, then wonder why their compost turns into black sludge. A neighbor once asked me, "Why is my compost not breaking down? It's just a thick, stinky mess." When I checked, I found leftover soup and fried oil inside. Oil blocks airflow. Meat and bones decompose too slowly and attract rodents. And citrus peels, though natural, contain essential oils that kill beneficial microbes, slowing everything down. Always remember, a compost bin is not a trash can. It's a home for living organisms. Whatever you throw in, microbes have to eat and process it. If you feed them the wrong stuff, you're basically poisoning your own little ecosystem. So before tossing anything in, ask yourself, is it biodegradable, oil-free, and chemical-free? If you're not sure, leave it out. Not composting long enough when you rush the process. We live in a fast world where everyone wants quick results. But composting, it's an art of patience. I know people who dig out their compost after just 3 weeks, then complain, "Why are my plants burning?" The reason is simple. The compost isn't finished. It's still hot, still full of active microbes breaking things down, and they'll keep feeding on your plant's roots if you use it too early. I always say, composting is the transformation from old life into new life. Depending on the temperature, moisture, and materials, it can take anywhere from 2 to 6 months or longer. You'll know it's ready when it smells like a forest after rain, looks dark and crumbly, and you can't recognize what went in. If you want to speed it up, turn it every week or 2, or add a little cow manure or bioactivator. But still, don't rush. Nature moves at her own pace, and our job is to respect that. Not reaching the right temperature. When the pile never heats up. A healthy compost pile heats up to around 120 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 to 60 degrees Celsius within the first few days. That heat means aerobic microbes are working hard, breaking down materials, killing weed seeds and pathogens. But if your pile stays cool, it's asleep. The usual culprits? Not enough greens, moisture, or air. A friend once filled her bin only with dry leaves and shredded paper. 3 months later, it looked exactly the same. The fix? Easy. Feed it. Add some coffee grounds, vegetable scraps, or a little water. Turn it gently for airflow. Within days, she could feel warmth rising, like a living heartbeat inside the pile. Compost needs heat to live, just as we need a pulse to survive. If it's cold, ask yourself, have I fed it right? Have I given it air to breathe? Not adding minerals, when the soil stays hungry. Many people think compost alone can feed the plants completely, but while compost is rich in organic matter, it can be poor in minerals if you don't add some extras. I once grew kohlrabi using only pure compost. The plants grew, but the bulbs were small and the leaves pale. Next season, I mixed in wood ash, crushed eggshells, and a bit of lime powder. The result? Stronger plants, greener leaves, and softer, richer soil. Compost is a foundation, but soil also needs calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, minerals kitchen waste can't fully provide. So every batch, try adding a handful of crushed shells, rock dust, or wood ash. The soil, just like our bodies, needs not only vegetables, but a pinch of salt and minerals to stay healthy. Lack of nitrogen. When compost starves midway. Once I made a beautiful autumn compost pile, full of golden leaves. 3 months later, I opened it, and it was still just leaves. That's when I realized it lacked nitrogen, the greens. Nitrogen fuels the microbes. Without it, they slow down, and the compost dries out. If your pile seems stuck, add some manure, soybean meal, coffee grounds, or fresh veggie scraps. Here's a small trick. If your compost smells earthy but feels stiff, sprinkle a bit of water and give it a good turn. You'll wake it right up. Nature always gives us second chances if we pay attention to her quiet signals. Not enough microbes. When compost loses its soul. Finally, the one thing most people overlook. Microbes are the soul of compost. Without them, it's just a pile of trash. When starting a new batch, always add a scoop of garden soil or old compost. That's your starter culture, full of living microbes. Or use natural activators, rice water, yogurt, or fermented banana solution. I once added a bit of expired yogurt, and within days, the compost warmed up beautifully, smelling clean and earthy. Microbes are the silent workers of nature, tiny, tireless, unseen. Give them air, moisture, and food, and they'll turn waste into life. Remember, compost isn't just fertilizer. It's a living ecosystem where everything old is reborn into something new. You see, composting isn't hard. It's about understanding it like a friend. It teaches us patience, balance, and respect for natural rhythms. Every time I open my compost bin and smell that earthy scent, I feel peaceful, knowing that the scraps I threw away yesterday are becoming life again today. If you've made one of these 7 mistakes, don't feel discouraged. Every failure brings you closer to understanding nature a little more deeply. Start again, slowly, gently, patiently. Because compost doesn't just enrich the soil, it enriches the soul. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message. Together, we can spread the spirit of sustainable living, of love and gratitude for this planet we call home. Because every small act we take today is a seed for a greener tomorrow.